Top performance in horses actually starts in the gut. What? That is the assertion of Vickie Montgomery, our awesome guest. Welcome, Vickie.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Shaunna. I feel so blessed.
Well, we are going to dive into it. Now, if you are listening and you love horses, maybe you have a horse that has behavior issues or you're even afraid to ride your horse anymore. Oh my gosh, we have a show for you. So, Vickie is an equestrian trainer. She is the horse lover health coach, and she runs a rehab facility for horses. And she spent 40 years as a horse trainer and hunter and on the A circuit and 20 years running this rehab facility. And she's discovered how to break this pain cycle that she's witnessed in horses that really can stop their life and definitely stop their career or their passion or their fun and really cause a problem in that horse-human relationship. So she believes healing comes from within ourselves, and a horse is no different. So I am so excited to chat with Vickie. She lives in Piscines, California. She's got beautiful 60 acres with 360 panoramic views, and the horses get to enjoy that as much as she does. So welcome, Vickie. And just tell us, let's start off by saying, like, what exactly do you do now? And how did you get into this? What led you on this journey to where you are now as the horse lover health coach?
I feel very blessed that I get to teach horse owners struggling to ride their difficult sport horses to release the gut pain, the digestive tension, and then confidently ride their revitalized equine athlete back into the show ring. It's such an honor to have this capability for all of these wonderful people out there having difficulties, like I said, with some of their horses.
And so take us back. I know that for generations, like, you know, the horse life, it's not in my veins. It doesn't, I mean, I loved horses. I always wanted to have a horse. I think most little girls do. A lot of little girls wanted a pony. That was the thing. But I was in the city, but I used to go trail riding. There was a place not too far from us, and I absolutely loved it. But it's not in my genes like it's in your genes. So tell us, like, where this passion for horses and the horse health came from. Like, where did it start? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yes, third generation for sure. It was destined for me to be into showing and writing and teaching. I actually we lived on 15 acres in Hillsborough, California. My grandparents owned a piece of property called Concar Ranch, and we lived in a separate house. And you just woke up walking across the street, or not the street, the creek, actually, to go be with a horse. So my mom decided that it would be a good idea to keep this girl a little bit honed in away from the boys. Started teaching at 14, and it was all about really getting candy money. I'll be honest with you.
Get your motivation wherever it comes from.
Yeah, back then it was $5 a lesson. And I think about that now, I'm like, I go, wow. But fast forward today, like you had mentioned, I have had an experience running up and down the A circuit with showing between the California coast up to Oregon, Calgary, Canada, up in your area.
Yes.
Um, and I definitely saw that this was my passion to be with the horses because I loved them so much. My daughter was and is can't even say the word. She's a beautiful rider and she competes as well. And so I decided that, again, this was my passion and I'm an advocate for the horses. Eventually, as I got to the rehab, I decided that maybe there was more to it than just showing. And that really shifted everything.
And what you're showing, and then what had you fill in the gaps? How do you, like, you're showing horses and then you're like, I got to rehab. What did you see that prompted that? Like, and yeah, how did that all come about?
Well, I was so frustrated in seeing so many lame horses and watching horses I wouldn't say that they're taken care of incorrectly, but there was a lot of pieces that were missing of the puzzle.
Hmm.
You had trainers out there that really never knew much about horses, but they were taught a system to just train and teach. So the horse got to be the sacrifice. They
Yeah.
became the well, I call it vehicle of success. Just ride them, basically use them up, and then go find a new one. So that was something that really bothered me, being with horses all my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see how that would be. I noticed that working in the hospital, and we would have these people, which you could call the vehicle of success, if you will, like doctors, nurses, ultrasound techs in particular. I was I was a sonologist, so a ultrasound doctor, and I saw these ultrasound techs, and they were just quite frankly abused their body, like they didn't want to, but they were just so overloaded and just getting burnt out. And then when they had their shoulder injuries, it would just be like they were cast aside and replaced with somebody new. And such a shame and a waste, and just in your bones, that's not right. So you seeing that, I can get that, I understand that, where you're seeing these horses, like these beautiful animals, and then just work to the point of exhaustion or injury or pain, and then they react. Obviously they're going to not react, none of us react well when we're in pain. But
No.
there's a little less understanding when it comes to horses. Like you could lose your life over that by having a bad day. As a person in pain and you get grumpy, well, maybe you get a divorce. But but a horse, there's a little bit less. Okay, so you're doing the rehab, and then I know that you mentioned, about um, horse, uh, the performance starts in the gut, and top performance. So for a lot of people, that's a leap. They'll be like, no, it's the training, or it's, this certain exercise, or something. But I don't think people automatically go to the gut. So where did this connection between pain and behavior and performance and gut tie in together for you? How did that happen?
Well, you would start to investigate some of the behavior problems that horses had, and the vets would scope and say, oh, they have ulcers. And so they would put them on some type of medication to block the acid, and then life goes on. But then it actually started, even though you've taken away, it's just like people, you're taking a medication that's blocking it, it still is building up. It's going
Yeah.
to go somewhere. It's going to
Yeah.
start working on the performance and the health in all aspect. So being coming from a holistic background,
Hmm.
I really wanted to have a more natural approach. And so I started investigating, well, this has got to be a bigger picture to the problem. And it
Right.
is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I remember you telling me once, like, usually there's like that one pivotal like moment, like you were rehabbing horses, and you were working with them and they were improving their health. And then there was, usually it's that tough case that comes along, that it's almost like it's meant to be there for a reason, right? Some of our most challenging, or what we might initially label as a bad or a negative experience, actually is that impetus for the best growth and the most amazing trajectory, turning point ever. So you had something similar. You had a challenging case that really had you like dive into the gut specifically. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have recommendations from vets quite often to send the difficult cases to me, and I would do a great job. And the horses and the clients would be happy, and off they would go. One case came when there was a horse who's still with me. He's been with me for 7 years now.
Uh-huh.
Uh, they said, I'm not sure he's going to live. His stomach does not empty. And most horses that have this problem, they actually put down because they're really, in most people's eyes, no way of curing this.
Mhm.
Well, I started working and trying to really figure out his particular issue. And so I was able to stumble on a strategy that would release the gut tension and
Mhm.
be able to get this horse to actually use his relax his smooth muscles in order for the stomach to actually empty. And so he came as a bad behavior. All of the technicians that worked with him labeled him as a biter, fighter, run you over. Watch out for this kind of horse, right?
Right.
Um, Today, after all of the stuff that I have worked on with him, he's a sweet, loving horse, and the owner gets to ride him because she couldn't ride him. He was just too crazy. And he is out of pain. So I think that that was my pivoted moment in this really does heal horses, and we can make a difference.
That, I mean, you saved that horse's life, really. So, if you have a fighter biter and now they're like a sweet, gentle horse, loving, you've improved that relationship too. That horse human rider horse, I don't know how you call it, but that's huge. That's huge. So really profound. I always talk about doing soul satisfying work. That's got to be soul satisfying for you. And that win-win, like all the way around. So I kind of guess that this is how, because I was like, well, how does a like horse trainer become a health coach and the horse lover health coach? So, this is, you kind of given us an insight, but how did that happen? How did you go from like trainer to health coach?
Frustration for sure,
Yeah.
seeing so many unhappy horses, and today the numbers are increasing. We only have like 88,000 members that are in our particular discipline, which isn't a
Hmm.
whole lot.
Hmm.
But sadly to say, horses that have, well, what led me to it was my advocate for the horse, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was so passionate, and the horses have always been there for me, and I
Hmm.
wanted to
Hmm.
give back to them. And
Hmm.
also in the rehab, I didn't feel like I completely nailed it down. I would send these horses back to their clients, and then they would pop up in a different area where they would
Right.
show. And it got very, very disappointing. And I also felt that I just wasn't doing enough. And so I wanted to shift.
Yeah. And you can get to like the root cause and really see these like really true transformations. I love it. And I think there's a huge need for what you do. It's very unique to have this background, well, to have a lifelong love of horses and that goes back generations. So like you came in, you were primed and ready, but then, being able to show them and showcase them and a circuit, and that'll mean something to our listeners who are horse lovers more than it does to me, but I think that's really good. But then also see the need of, oh, we got to do that, the rehab, much like myself, right? Wanted to help people be healthy, became a doctor, saw the need. Actually, we want to help people get out ahead of it. Like we can prevent a lot of this stuff. This suffering here, this pain, it doesn't have to be that way. That's what led to the health coaches, and then and now the work I do now, mentoring health coaches, because they have an opportunity to really get their gifts and their healing message out there in their unique little area that I could never know about. And so yeah, it's kind of like that next logical step. So for you, it was rehab. And then it's like, okay, how can I also, not in place of rehab, but how can I expand on this and get to the root cause and help the people, the owners, as well as the horses, like both, not in place but both. So I love it. So how is it that you work with people? Like, where do they come from? What are their troubles? How do they find you? How do you work with them? What does that look like?
Well, like I said earlier, vets will send me cases. I will also I have a big referral and word of mouth.
Mhm.
So I think that is the biggest bulk. I also get young horses that come out that need to just learn how to be in a herd,
Mhm.
which is kind of funny because horses live in a herd.
Yes.
And then we start them, and then we get them going, doing groundwork and stuff. So I'm now able to take the young ones and give them a much better start with my program, and I'm able to bring the client in to help them know how to keep the success with their horse through rehab. and then back into the show ring.
Yeah, I love it. And what about if you know, a lot a lot of health coaches that I know, they work with people on Zoom. And I'm like, how does the horse is not going on Zoom? So so how
That'll
do
be a good one.
yeah, I mean, I could, I mean, but how does that work? And like, do you only work with people who like live in in Pisces, California, or like how does that work?
My program is very unique because I'm not only working with the horses, but I need work with the clients, the owners as well.
Mhm.
So when the horses are on the facility from rehabbing or just because they want to help their difficult horse, I work, it's probably well, I start out doing the work on my facility and teaching
Mhm.
them conscious relaxation. At the
Awesome.
same time, I take the owners on Zoom and I meet with them once a week. And that
Mhm.
way I can get their transformation going as I'm getting the transformation with the horse, learning how to relax and to have better relationships within their own life. And then I bring the two together, and that's when the magic really starts. Watching a client that was afraid of their horse or really was just frustrated that they couldn't connect with their horse, and then the sparks fly, and they all just kind of merge together. And it's been such an amazing journey because I've always felt frustrated as a trainer that people came with so much baggage and they
Yeah.
never learned how to connect with their horse. And that really is where the horses want to meet us in that connection. So
Mhm.
this has been beautiful.
I love it. And it's just, I love seeing the translation of this holistic health and in the human world, and and then seeing that translate out into the horse arena is just really it's really beautiful and unique, very unique and powerful. And I think it's really needed, especially when you see um the potential waste of such huge talent, and especially when something that might be seen as not fixable is fixable. That's huge. It's absolutely huge. So we now, and more people are learning more about gut health themselves, and horses have a gut too. And so, why, in your opinion, why is like horse gut health like so important?
Well, I think that like all of us, a happy horse is with a happy gut,
Hmm.
right? And to
Hmm.
be top performers in this horse, we've got to look at the gut deeper. There are so many horses out there that are having gut issues. I mean, 20, 50% of the foals start out with guts that are already impacted by the ulceration. We have 60 to 90% of the adult horses that are having that. And like I said earlier, their job is to say, oh, I'm just going to medicate it and it'll be great. But it isn't, because you're not dealing with a whole horse. A horse comes from nature. We need to meet them at their place, not them meeting so much at our place. So I really feel that the gut is where you can get your performance way up there. Um, just think about how you feel when your stomach doesn't feel good. You're not going to get up and be bright and ready to go be the best champion out there. And that's
Yeah.
the same with the horse.
Excellent. I often ask people about myths and that they have, but in your case, I'm wondering, like, um, if there's what is something that a horse lover could do to improve their horse's performance? Like you mentioned, top performance in horses starts in the gut. Any tips you can share about that?
Yeah, well, there are many, but we'll just stick with one today. And that is being able to have the horses go back to their natural way of eating, and that's grazing. They graze 18 to 20 hours a day. And imagine chewing for 18 to 20 hours a day. That creates a lot of saliva, and this saliva has to go somewhere. So people are feeding more commercial grain food that goes right through the stomach very quickly, where forage and hay, which is the same, but there's different types of hays out there, once it gets mixed up in the stomach with the saliva, then they're constantly buffering that acid and they're keeping the ulcers and the gastric ulcerations out of not only the stomach, but in the intestines as well. So this is huge because if you look at a horse, their stomach and their intestines, I don't even remember how long it is, but it's huge. So if that's uncomfortable, it's going to affect their back and being able to do jumping or dressage or any of the events that people want to do.
Yeah, that's
And think
huge.
about it, 16 gallons of acid a day. Where does that go? So feeding our horses 24/7 is the way we have to be able to solve this very easy problem.
Yeah, and it's a big problem, right? You mentioned how I mean, a lot of horses have ulceration. I hadn't no idea. What are the estimates there of how many horses are affected by this?
Well, it's 60 to 90%. That's too many. Way too
Yeah.
many that are being affected.
So that's huge, and something that just changing the feeding design to be more in alignment with how horses naturally feed out grazing. You're driving down the highway. I just go from my perspective. I'm driving down the highway and I see horses and they're grazing all the time. That's what they're doing. So yeah, I never really thought about that. I eat like 3 meals a day, but that's not how horses eat. They're kind of grazing all the time. And yet for convenience, I would imagine people will have moved over to cereal grains and sort of feeding times.
Yeah, your problem that you really have is they're stabling at public facilities and they want to just feed minimum. Like it's all about labor, right?
Mhm,
If I
mhm,
only feed hay in the morning, they get a guy to go feed in the morning and the guy feed in the afternoon. Some places will feed 3 times a day,
mhm,
but for the horse owners, they need to look for properties where the owners are willing to change their feeding system.
mhm.
I have done that at my place. I've done either slow hay feeders or the porter grazer, which again, you can keep food in front of them and they're not gorging away because there is a system that holds it in place so they're not getting full access. But that allows that feeling that they're grazing and keeping that acid down. This is huge. And also, the horses will be happier, and the horse property owner will actually have horses stay longer, which again, it's always about the bottom line
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah, because the one of the thing is to keep the costs down might be why they do it, but then the long range costs of damage or from an angry horse or not being able to, all of those things can offset it. So actually, going back to their grazing ways is more cost effective potentially in the long run. It saves them, vet
Well,
bills and
horses
so
get into
on.
trouble when they're unhappy. They
Yeah.
start breaking down fences. They chew up all the wood. They're eating the stall down. These are not uncommon problems. I am a horse property owner, so I know what they can do. They put their foot in a fence because they're telling someone, "Hey, I'm hungry," and then you've got a vet bill. I mean, it
Yeah.
just goes on and
Yeah.
on and on.
Yeah, sometimes the most powerful solutions are actually so simple that we ignore them. Like, when I was coaching people, drinking water is huge. Easy to do, easy not to do. If people just stayed hydrated, it actually, flushes out toxins. It's a great skin anti-ager. All of those things helps with mental clarity. You think of your blood viscosity. Like if you're dehydrated, things get like, thickened up, that doesn't bode well. And so just
No.
something simple like that is but most of us miss that and have a number of challenges. So I more and more the most profound and best solutions are often the simplest, but they can be, if it's out of a habit or it's not how it's been done, it can be a little bit of a trick to do it. And obviously there's more to it than just that, but that's like just taking like one specific problem, which actually affects a lot of horses, and how there's some simple things that can be shifted that make a huge difference. And a lot of times, we're focused on, as humans, we're focused on our work. And so that's how this simple thing gets forgotten. Well, same thing. They're focused on, having them perform and so on. And so that's how some of these simple things, can get missed, or, the facility is just not set up like that at the moment. Um, what are one of the things that I've seen, at least with people who are coaching humans, is that whenever they start, say, like with one problem, like weight loss, that there's like another benefit, like maybe their relationships get better or something else. So there's always, or their sleep gets better. They weren't even trying to get the sleep better, and sleep gets better. And so I'm just curious, when you've helped these horses, uh, anything else that you've seen when you've helped them, say, get out of pain, what kind of spin-off benefits have you seen with your clients, either the horse or the human, the owner, either one? Any spin-off benefits or stories you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. One that's a common thread is that relationships improve in all aspects of the life of both the horse and the human. The horses can go be around horses better. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
had horses that attacked other horses
Mm-hmm.
because they're in pain. And
Right.
when they start to get out of pain, you can put them in a herd and they're not fighting over food. They're not trying to attack. I mean, you always have, the herd dynamic. That's
Mm-hmm.
always going to be there, but it is so much calmer. You don't have horses walking up and down the fence line so much, like it's time to eat or I'm anxious. And then on the flip side, on the humans, they start to learn how to have relationships. And all of a sudden, the husband's going, "Wow, you're so happy when you come back from the barn. I remember you not being so happy, and you were always having frustration with everything. This is fantastic." Or the mother-daughter relationship improves because now the mother is learning how to take a back seat a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
listen to
Mm-hmm.
their daughter. And maybe the daughter has some good advice for the mother. So this has been a fun transformation. And
Yeah.
I did feel it in myself as well when I started to do my own program. Like, wow, I am getting a better relationship with my husband. So it spreads. It's a little bit like water. You just don't know where it's going to go, but it just keeps flowing.
Yeah, flowing. I love it. It is sharing the love. It really is. And you can imagine, like, when if you have a problem child, or horse in this case, it's like a little bomb that goes off. It's infected, and then they start blaming each other. Well, you should do it like this because nothing's working. And so then people start to point fingers at it. Nobody really has an answer, but they're like, well, maybe if you just did this, or maybe if you just did that. And we've seen that, with in families, for example, if the child, for example, has an illness. I mean, there's a really high percentage of divorces with that. And so sometimes these horses are like a member of the family. And so I could see how that would be also that. So yeah, not only saving lives of horses, but repairing relationships, marital and, child and family relationships as well. And I imagine with staff too, like a lot of times they'll have probably a number of people that they work with. And so I can imagine that when things are running more smoothly, everything just improves. That is just fantastic.
I want to share one
Yeah,
story, if you don't
yeah,
mind.
yeah. I love the stories. Yeah.
Well, there's a client that I've had for like 7 years here, and she is now showing and having her horse that I'm not sure if I mentioned his stomach issue. Did I mention that already yet, where
Don't
he could not empty his stomach?
At the beginning, I believe you did. Is that the
Okay.
one with the they
Yes.
7 years or something?
So
No.
she has had she was a very timid rider, very timid and very timid with the horse because of this whole situation. She now has this relationship on any horse that she gets on, that she can carry the information that she's learned from this program to many other horses that she's never sat on. And that is a big benefit as well. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to
Translate
share the
over.
transformation. It's been just amazing.
Yeah, and the skills translate over, and I just, yeah, I love that. So it's not, it's, yes, it's improving the horse's gut health, which helps them get out of pain, which helps them improve performance, but also improving the relationship between horse and human, but human and human, and just like a win-win-win all the way around. So just fantastic work that you're doing, Vickie. No wonder you're the horse lover health coach. So with that, how can people reach out to you if they have questions and are like, yeah, that works for that, but you don't know my horse, and I know you do, but you haven't seen one like mine. You've been doing this so many years, I'm pretty sure you have, but let them bring it on you, because you're who they go to when the vets are like, well, I don't know what we can do with this one. This one, we're just gonna have to put this one down. And then they send it to you. You're like that last hope, that last ditch effort. So not that everybody has to bring you their horses on the last hope, but if someone's out there and they're like, this sounds really good, or I think I would like to know more about this. I would like my horse to be out of pain. I hate seeing them suffer. I love that beautiful beast, and I would love to see them just thrive again. How can people connect with you? I mean, they can always pop a comment in here, but what's the best way for them to find out more about what you do and maybe ask you a question?
Yeah, to jump up on my website would be the best. It's horse dash lover dash health dash coach.com. And that would be the easiest.
Mhm.
And yeah, I would love to look forward. I look forward to seeing who would love to have the help with their relationship and to be able to get the gut issue under control if that's one of their problems, which I'm pretty sure has to be.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't even know that's the, I mean, I guess if they have ulceration, they would have a clue there, but a lot of people don't even know that that could have anything to do with that. Or even if their horse is good, but they want to improve the performance even more.
Yeah,
That's like taking it to that next level. It's like that, secret ingredient. If you're a race car, you're looking for all of the little things that other people haven't tried yet to improve the performance. And in this case, not in a way at the expense of the health of the horse, in a way that improves the health of the horse so they can improve their performance, which is, again, win-win.
exactly, exactly.
Awesome. So horse dash lover dash health dash coach. So horse lover health coach with a dash in between all of that. Just amazing, Vickie. Thanks for shining your light, leading with love, and spreading it amongst the horses and the horse lovers of the world. I super appreciate you. This was a fascinating look into the world of horses, a new arena for me, that's for sure. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for asking me. And again, I have learned so much with your actual coaching program. So even though I am not a health coach for people, your program has been amazing transformation in myself. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, my absolute pleasure, Vickie. I really want people to get their messages out into the world. Like you said, you're really an advocate for the horses. I'm actually an advocate for the average person who I'm on a mission to help people live their longest, healthiest, happiest lives, but I can't do it alone. And I know there's some people there, some amazing health coaches and horse lover health coaches who have some skills, who have some abilities, but people don't even, you're like the best kept secret. So if I can use this platform and this vehicle to let people know, hey, this problem, there's a solution there, and a solution exists, and just to give people hope and some tips and point them in the right direction, and maybe that's all they need, and maybe they need a little bit more hand holding, then yeah, that's how we help this world together be a healthier, happier place. So yeah, thank you for being a part of that.
Yes, lead with love. Thank you.
Yep. Awesome. Well, if you like this video, feel free to like, and definitely check out other episodes on Health Coach TV. But also, if you know of somebody who is a horse owner and might benefit from this, absolutely share this video with them. We want more people and horses to be living healthier, happier lives. And if you have a question or a topic you want to cover, just feel free to pop that in the comments below. We're happy to answer. So with that, have a fantastic week. And of course, as always, be good for you.